Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Well, it's another bedroom talk with me and Boo Radley. Come here, Boo. Come here, buddy. Today, Boo Radley is going to help me do this video. Aren't you, Booby? He likes to kiss our ears. That's like his favorite thing in the entire world. He, at night, lays on Alex's chest, and then he like licks his ear. It's so cute. He gives him little kisses. He's so sweet, aren't you? He said, yes, Dad, I'm very sweet. He knows it, too. Yesterday, we were having this long conversation, because I said, Boo Radley, it's supposed to be so nice tomorrow. He said, oh, I know it's going to be so nice. I'm going to go out into the creek. I said, the creek. He calls the creek the creek. And I said, you're going to go to the creek. I had my husband cracking up. And he goes, oh, yes. He goes, I love to go out to the creek. I love to swim, and I like to swim with the fishes. And he calls them fishes, not fish, but fishes. And he said, and I like to dig for crawdads. And he said, and then I like to float down the river. And he said, I still wear my cowboy hat. You still wear your cowboy hat? He goes, oh, of course. He goes, I love to boot, scoot, and boogie. Boot, scoot, and boogie? And he said, yes, and then sometimes I like to go to the rodeo, too. He goes, I'm not a rodeo clown. Don't get confused. This is something that I have done from the time that we had 3 dogs, was make up little stories about them. And at one time, Pee-Pee, our Chihuahua, was like a child star that had like aged. So his name was Deborah. And so, or he had an assistant named Deborah. And I would create all these stories, and I would like make up little things that they were saying. And we would always talk to Boo and Tucker and say, you know, like, oh, like Tucker got straight A's, but Boo is like on detention because he was talking in class and stuff like that. So I've always done all these voices and stories for the dogs. But I have to say, I was thinking about this, like, I write down all these different ideas for videos that I want to do over here. And one of the videos I did was, like, if I had one wish kind of idea. And then one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about since our last 2 dogs passed away, and especially with Boo Radley now, and thinking about getting another dog, because I kind of have this itch to get another dog, is that I really wish that, and I'm sure many of you have felt this way, that dogs could talk. And, you know, I've gotten these books before that will say, like, dogs say this or dogs say that, and this is what they mean. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, I wish, that I could have a conversation with Boo Radley and talk to him about his desires or not of getting a new dog. And I also would love to know what his voice sounded like. Alex and I always go back and forth about what our different dogs, like what their voices sounded like. Like, for years we've done that. Oh, he's being so sweet right now. I just took him outside and he ran around in the yard forever. And it is hot, hot, hot tamales outside, isn't it, Boo? But, you know, when our dogs were sick, I think one of the hardest things in having dogs, especially dogs that are elderly or when they start getting sick, is that they can't tell us how they feel. I think that has been the hardest thing as a pet owner, is not knowing, like, really how do they feel. I remember one time, I can't remember what was, there was a time that Pee-Pee got bit by a spider. That was really, really bad. We had to rush him to the emergency vet, and then they gave him, like, some medicine, and it went down right away. But it was something else, and I can remember that Boo Radley, not Boo Radley, look, he just went over and laid down on Alex's pillow. But Pee-Pee, like, stood in that corner. Like, he wouldn't come over to the bed, and he was a really personable dog, if you guys remember him. And he wouldn't come over to the bed, and he wouldn't come over to us. He just kept on standing in the corner, staring at the wall, like, and he was just kind of hunched over. And I don't even remember what it was, because there was only a couple times. That was, like early on. That was long before I was ever on YouTube. But, you know, there are times that you don't know, like, how sick your dog feels. And with Tucker, especially at the end, like, he was so lethargic, and you could tell that he was really trying to, like, stand up, and he was really trying to eat, but he just couldn't, you know? And Pee-Pee was like that at the end, too. Like, you could tell, like, we would put stuff, like, right in front of him, And like they've never eaten table scraps or anything like that. Like Alex was always very strict about, I don't want dogs on table scraps and all that kind of stuff. And so we always used food that was recommended from our vet. And then when Pee-Pee wasn't eating because he was in kidney failure, there was a point that like I kind of like panicked and went and got him, like I'd seen somebody do this in a video, and I went and got him like a cheeseburger from McDonald's, and I like cut up the cheeseburger part and even like the bun and the fries and stuff. Like he wouldn't, I mean, he, like I remember like bringing it to him and he kind of just like turned his nose away, and I'm like sobbing in the kitchen, and I'm like throwing Tucker and Boo fries, because I was like, I don't care, you guys eat whatever you want at this point. And I remember Boo Radley, it was, in retrospect, it's kind of cute, sad, but funny, I guess. Boo Radley had this long fry. Well, it wasn't this long, but it was this long fry, like this long. And they don't know what to do with this stuff because they've never eaten it before. And so Boo Radley just carried it around forever and would lick it, right? Well, then he came, and Pee-Pee was up in our bed, and he was on this quilt that we had, that Alex now has like tied up and wrapped up with like his toys and stuff. And Boo Radley just brought this French fry to him and like laid it right in front of Pee-Pee's, like as an, like giving it to him as an offering, like for him to eat. And Boo Radley just kind of sat there like, and Pee-Pee just looked at that French fry like he could care less. Pee-Pee, even though he didn't eat human food, if he could sneak human food, he would eat it. And so, you know, not only when they're sick, you know, it's just like, I wish, don't you ever just wish that you could have a conversation with your dog? Like, what do you do all day? What do you think all day? Like, I wonder that all the time. Like, what do they think about? Do they have, I've wondered this forever because we had 3 dogs. Do they talk to each other? Do they have conversations with each other? You know, it's very obvious that they communicate in some kind of way, but like, is it very specific, distinct conversation like humans have? Or is it like just grunt, you know, bark, stay away from my food kind of stuff? The thing is, when you have dogs, and like I watch my dogs very closely because I believe dogs have personalities, and it's a huge part of why I'm a vegetarian today. And when you see that, it's like or you see them working out something in their head. Have you ever seen a dog? Cats do the same thing. Have you ever seen a dog like work something out in its head? Like if it's trying to like figure out a toy or do something, you know? It's like there's thought processes going on there. There's soul, you know? And so there has to be thought that goes along with that, and there has to be communication. So I wonder all the time. Like, I mean, I sit there and look at Boo Radley all the time, and I wonder what he's thinking, you know? Today out in the yard, like, our neighbor had, like, cut down a bunch of weeds, and she had, like, thrown them out, and he was, like, smelling them, and then all of a sudden he just went like that, and he, like, looked up at me, and I was like, what? Boo Radley, like, looked at me like he had something to say, and I was like, I wonder what he's thinking right now, you know? And, like, right now I would love to get another dog. But one of the reasons why I'm not, the reason why I'm not is because Boo Radley has never known any other dogs other than like our neighbor's dogs, except for Tucker and Pee-Pee, his brothers. And as an elderly dog, he's 12 and a half. I don't know, he'll be 13 very soon. I just don't know that he'll react to that very well. And I don't want to make, and either does Alex, his last years, sad for him, you know? Because so many people are like, well, have you thought about getting another dog for Boo Radley? And I'm like, oh yeah, we think about that all the time. But what if it wasn't that way? I mean, I have friends of mine whose dogs don't get along with each other, you know? Like, they don't hate each other, but they just kind of, like, coexist. What if that wasn't the case? What if Boo Radley didn't really want to be around this other dog, and then his final years are him just being sad? And so that's where we've just kind of resigned ourselves to the fact that we're just going to be the best dog dads that we can be to Boo Radley and give him all the possible attention that he could possibly want. But I wonder all the time what dogs think. I wonder when I'm feeding him, like, do you hate this food? Do you know what I mean? Like, would you be like, Dad, I hate this food. Can you get me something else? Or I like chicken, I don't like this. Or you know what I mean? Like, or I like these treats, but I don't like these treats. I mean, there's so many things, and that's just kind of like basic stuff. But mostly I just wonder what they think about all day long, you know? And like I said, I also wish that, like, a big thing is, I wish dogs could communicate to us about pain and when they're not feeling well and when they're sick. If you've ever had a dog that has been, I think each of our dogs, probably with the exception of Boo Radley, I mean, he was sick just a little bit ago, but that was like the first time in a very long time. Like, all of our dogs have been sick a couple times, you know, where like you had to take them to the vet and things like that. And in each situation, we kind of didn't really know how to gauge how serious or not serious it was based on how they were responding to it. But they all kind of just were quiet and shut down and just it was sad. And maybe that's how dogs do communicate to us. But I wish they could talk. I wish I could have a conversation with my dogs. I love my dogs. Well, my dog. I love my little doggy so much. Right, Boo Radley? Hey, Booby? Boo? You want to say hello to all the people? He said, get that camera out of my face. All right, you guys. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.